Yo, what's going on, guys? Arekkz here. Welcome back to another video for Monster Hunter Rise, and in this one I want to talk about armor skills because we finally got to see them. So of course, if you guys caught yesterday's trailer, incredibly awesome. If you haven't seen my breakdown, then I've already put that up on the channel. I will link it down below. But of course, on top of that, as they often do when they drop a brand new trailer, they also update the official game website, and in the weapon section there's actually an area that shows off our first look at armor skills. Now, if you guys cast your mind back to the interview I did with Ryozo and Ichinose-san, they mentioned that they were working on a system that was kind of like halfway house between the old system and the new system. Now, in seeing it, it does look like it's slightly more leaning towards the newer system, but either way, I want to kind of talk about what it has. So if you guys do enjoy this, then a like would be super appreciated. Also, just before we get to the video, so that you guys can kind of talk about this and we can discuss it further, I have put up another poll on the community page asking your thoughts on the new skill system. So I'll link it in the comments down below. Let me know what you guys think about this one, and again, we can discuss that in another video a little bit later on. Also, just before we go any further, can we just take a moment to appreciate this turf war between Gosharag and Tetralydon? Gosharag is an absolute badass. Look at the way he just right crosses Tetralydon and just leaps on him and goes ham. Like, this is... whew. Anyway, turn your attention to, there are a few screenshots. The very first one, we get to see this. Now, we do also get confirmation that charms are making a return. If you guys remember the very first time we saw the equipment screen, the charm was actually not there. It was just the armor pieces, the weapon, and the petalace. So we were wondering, you know, could they have potentially been removed? But we do, of course, get confirmation they are also making a return. And more on those in a minute. We, of course, see from this first screenshot, we see a list of skills on the side, and much like we have in World, skills have different levels. They, of course, have little thresholds with the little meters that can fill up to show you just how far they can go. Now, the official description for this one says, your armor consists of 5 pieces, and each piece has its own defense and elemental resistance stats, as well as 1 or more skills that will help you on your hunt. Skills can also be added by equipping Talisman, which can be earned by progressing the game. Make sure you pick the right skills to suit your playstyle and objectives. Nothing new there. Pretty standard stuff. If we turn our attention to the next screenshot, we get to look at one of the armor pieces, the Kimura Garb. This one here has the Wirebug Whisperer skill, which we'll speak about in a moment. And we then get to see the actual skill screen, which kind of gives you the sort of skill breakdown. I guess this is kind of the sort of comparison between the older system and the newer system, because the older games used to display skills in this sort of layout when you had this sort of tabular structure with all the sort of like spaces between it. Obviously, there are no negative skills here, or at least I don't believe there are, because there's no sort of UI depiction for where they could be. But you can, of course, see the distribution between the armor pieces, and you can see the skills on the side. Now, it is worth noting, chatting to kind of Gaijin Hunter recently about this one, he mentioned that there was a mistranslation on the Wirebug Whisperer. So, of course, the level 1, of course, extends the duration that you can keep a Wirebug by 30%. That makes sense. That one, you know, it's basically just if you pick up a Wirebug in the wild, that, of course, remains the same. However, level 2, where it says further increases passive Wirebug recovery rate, this is where there is some confusion, because in one of the sort of TGS interviews, they mentioned that they wouldn't be doing armor skills that specifically kind of give you better recharge for your Wirebugs, because of course that might sort of mess with the balancing, so to speak. And it's worth noting that in Japanese, this use of the word passive is actually used when they refer to the wire fall technique specifically. So we won't necessarily know exactly what this means until we get to play in gameplay, but it sounds like it's not actually passive recharge recovery for Wirebug. It's more so tied specifically to, say, your wire fall technique. Again, we need to actually play to find out, but basically just note that this is probably not quite accurate. On top of that, it also says further increases passive recovery rate while on the ground. This could well be something akin to just, you know, when you're out of combat and you're not swinging around, maybe it kind of gives you a slightly faster recharge, which wouldn't be bad, because if you're just using it from an exploration point of view and you're just kind of getting slightly faster recharge just so you can zip up a mountain, that's not too bad, provided it's not in combat. But again, keep in mind, a few mistranslations, so we'll just revisit this once we get closer to launch. But what I do want to touch on is the accompanying paragraph for this, because this talks about how armor sets are going to change ever so slightly. They said here, skills are a variety of abilities that affect hunters in a number of ways. Each talisman or piece of armor has its own skills, which are activated just by equipping the corresponding gear. So again, that is the world system. You don't have to meet the 10-point threshold of older games. You just need to, you know, even by equipping one thing, you have level 1 in that skill, and different skills have different levels. However, it of course then goes on to say, you know, much like we know, if you then equip more than one piece of gear with the same skill, it will then augment the effect. So again, we know, you know, you equip level 1, level 2, level 3, you have like attack boost, and then that goes up to like level 6, assuming it works the same way. That much, again, nothing new. And it says, note that each skill has its own level cap. We know that. What is new, however, is it says here that if you equip 3 or more pieces of the same armor set, you will then receive a bonus to all of your resistance stats. So remember, whenever you have an armor set, it's of course got resistances in various different things: fire, thunder, water, this, that, and the other. So what they're now doing is that if you have a few pieces, 3 or more, of the same set, you're basically going to get a flat-out boost to those. So if it just so happens that, say, you're fighting a dragon monster and you have an armor set that has a dragon defensive bonus, by having 3 pieces or more of that, you're going to get a boost to that alongside your other resistances, which does then kind of make it more appealing to have at least a few pieces of the same set. Now, it is worth noting this doesn't talk about set bonuses, so that doesn't mean to say set bonuses are not a thing, but equally they haven't gone on to talk about them, so we don't know whether this is going to potentially replace them. Keep in mind, in World, set bonuses came from typically equipping 2, 3, 4 different pieces depending on the set, and you then got an additional bonus on top, some kind of, set specific skill. It was a cool system, but I will say one of the sort of things that was potentially a negative about that system was that, of course, by having set bonuses, it then massively reduced your kind of armor set mixed capabilities, because you would potentially be chasing a bonus, which would therefore force you to have like 2 or 3 pieces of that set, thus giving you fewer options. Meanwhile, if you look back to older Monster Hunter games, if you knew you wanted just like, I don't know, Heroics and Critical Eye, there could be 10 different armor sets that have points in that, and because you weren't chasing a set bonus, you could, to a degree, pick and choose those. You might be like, I'm going to take a waist from this monster and a helmet from this monster. Meanwhile, someone else making the exact same set might say, I'm instead going to use a chest piece and the legs. I know there's some element of that of course is still present in World, but with the introduction of set bonuses, it did somewhat limit or throttle those choices. So again, this much is speculation. We don't know just yet. If you think back to the introduction in World, we didn't start seeing set bonuses until we started sort of getting to high rank armor sets, and this of course is the basic starter Kimura gear. So I don't feel like we're in a position where we can see those just yet, but that's something we need to find out. Either way, that much is definitely new. There is the addition that by equipping 3 or more pieces, you get a boost to your resistances. On top of that, they also showed off the skills that are on the pre-order bonus, the Novice Talisman. Of course, pre-ordering the game, you get that talisman, and the skills for this one are level 1 Critical Eye, which of course increases your affinity by 5%, and level 1 Wall Runner, which decreases the stamina depletion while wall running, which honestly I like because wall running in this game is super fun, so that could be handy as a starter talisman. It is worth noting, talisman are items that you get later on in the game. It says here they usually don't become available until you progress far enough in the game, but this Novice Talisman can be equipped from the start. So, there you have it. That's a rundown on the armor skill system. Again, don't forget to vote in that poll. Let me know what you guys think over on the community page about the armor skills. If you like where this new system is going, maybe you just need to find out a little bit more before you can kind of make any sort of choices. Either way, let me know. And of course, as and when we get more information, I'll be sure to keep you guys up to date. There's a few more things I do want to talk about, so expect some more videos over the coming days. But for the time being, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. If you want to catch more from us at Arekkz Gaming, don't forget you can catch the guys 269, Paradise Central, and Investmore streaming over on Twitch weekdays, playing a variety of games. If you guys want to jump in, tune in, watch, and even join in, then make sure you check them out. The links to those are in the description box down below, and of course you can join the Discord to get involved in all of the discussions.